Who doesn't love a good disaster flick? We've seen tornadoes, hurricanes, earthquakes, volcanoes, asteroids, comets, rogue waves, and even a shark-a-lanche wreak havoc on Hollywood. The Day After Tomorrow gives us something a little different. A freaking ice age. The movie stars Dennis Quaid as climatologist Jack Hall, and Jake Gyllenhaal plays his son. The flick is a lot of fun. I love it. I've seen it probably 12 times, maybe more, who knows. And it's got the right amount of tension and action. However, it's not without its problems. Now, the movie's been heavily criticized for scientific inaccuracies, but come on, it's a movie. I expect certain liberties to be taken. I'm not going to the theater for 2 hours to see some climatology seminar. No, the problems that I'm talking about are the words on the page. You know, the screenwriters, I got a problem with in this movie. And it's not because of the man-made climate change that they try to shoehorn in there every chance they get. And it really doesn't fit in the movie. I know they're trying to make it fit, but they contradict themselves so damn much. Now look, I'm not trying to debate the finer points of man-made climate change here. And really, I'm used to that kind of stuff in Hollywood. All right, I'm used to, it's a liberal town with liberal philosophy. They're going to put their political points in movies. That's fine as long as it's done well. It doesn't take away from the movie or my enjoyment of it. However, that's what this screenwriter kind of did. I still love the movie, by the way, but, you know, it's got just dumbassery all over it. For instance, early on in the movie, the character of Jack Hall, he goes before a UN council and he's talking to this Dick Cheney knockoff vice president, who was, you know, meant to look like Dick Cheney because they, you know, of course, everyone hated Dick Cheney back. They still do. You know, he's evil. But he's talking to him about the finer points of climate change. We need to be involved in the Kyoto Accords, yada, yada, yada. And that there was this big piece of the ice shelf the size of Rhode Island fell into the ocean, and he's warning about that stuff. And okay, fine. If that's where you're going to go with it. But they contradict themselves, because a little bit later you have his son Sam and his friends. They go to this museum of science in New York. They go to an exhibit, and it's got a couple woolly mammoths, and it shows that they had died with food in their stomachs and their mouths, that they were frozen immediately while eating, right? So that it is great. By the way, that's great foreshadowing for what's to come. Got no problem there. My problem is that kind of contradicts man-made. You know, that this happened before. And the worst part, the absolute worst part, the character of Jack Hall is asked if mankind is going to make it through this. And he answers, well, we survived the last ice age, and we're certainly capable of surviving this one. However, are we going to learn from our mistakes? What? I mean, what kind of contradictory statement is that? Look, but, you know, that's what you get in this movie, unfortunately. That's the unfortunate part of this. But, unfortunately, that's not the only problem. Let's go to problem number 2. The movie does a great job of depicting the super cold air being sucked down from like the upper troposphere to ground level. Even shows, you know, it hitting a army helicopter, freezing the gas lines, crashing the helicopter. Pilot gets out, freezes instantly, and with it, like his last breath, shadowy breath coming out. It just looks cool. I mean, look at this building. I mean, that's awesome effects showing the super cold air coming down, and they've already showed how deadly it is. But what doesn't make a lot of sense, all right? Everyone knows this is coming, right? The main character, Sam and his group, and the father and his group, they kind of know what to look for. So they haul ass, right? They're trying to get to some shelter to get away from this, you know, death freezing air coming down. And Sam and his group, you know, he's dragging this guy along who's hurt, another friend of his. They go in with the main group, and everything starts to freeze. You can see it coming. It's awesome, right? What are they going to do? Well, they got a little fire going, and they start chunking books on top of it. Now, I don't know about you. Unless these books are doused in turpentine, it's probably not going to be in time to spark that fire into a huge roaring fire to save your ass. All right, it's just not. That's a little bit too big. That's always been, actually, more than anything else, that's probably my biggest gripe in the movie. Is that, I'm like, y'all are going to freeze to death before this fire gets, the damn fire itself is going to freeze. You know, and it's the same thing with the father. You know, he's escaping, dragging his knocked out teammate with him, and finds this kitchen area. I guess it's a restaurant. All right, and turns the stove on. So you got stovetop going. Like, that's going to save your ass. I don't know. That's the thing I can't get over. Despite those flaws, you know, they're not fatal. Like I said before, I love the movie. I've probably seen it a dozen times. It's one of my favorite disaster flicks. You know, do I hate it when political crap gets shoehorned into a movie? Yeah, I do. But as long as it's done well, I can get over it. This one is done shitty. Which, you know, that's not my problem. That's the filmmaker's problem, I guess. But I get over it. I get past it. I'm like, whatever, man. And as far as, you know, surviving that overpowered freezing air coming down, yeah, I roll my eyes every time. But it's surrounded by so much goodness. You know, this gigantic wall of water, you know, coming into New York, that's a cool scene. The tornadoes in downtown LA is cool. So there's just too much to like. There's too much for me to like, to hate on the movie, or to straight up hate it. So, you know, if you haven't seen it and you like a good cheesy disaster flick, go for it. Don't take it seriously. You know, don't be like, oh, it's got to have all this wonderful science in it. Not really. But just, you know, and if you've seen it, see it again. I love the movie. Anyway, thanks for watching this crap. I'll be back with another one eventually. Bye.